What if I told you that a single decision made today determines whether you retire wealthy or spend your final years struggling to make ends meet? Here's the kicker. This decision doesn't require a PhD, a six-figure salary, or a trust fund. The truth is, most people overlook a simple strategy that costs no more than a few coffee runs a week. My name is Ned. I help people turn small financial pivots into massive long-term results. If you're ready to build real wealth without the get-rich-quick noise, subscribe to the channel and hit that like button. It helps us get this message to those who need it most. Let's start with a reality check that should shock you. According to recent data, the majority of Americans cannot cover a basic $1,000 emergency. Think about that. More than half the population is one flat tire or one medical bill away from total financial collapse. This isn't just about low-income earners. I'm talking about people with good jobs and college degrees, people living a middle-class life that is actually a house of cards. They're trapped in the earn, spend, repeat cycle. They have the nice cars and the latest tech, but underneath the surface, they're broke. They just don't realize it yet. But what if you could escape the trap starting with an amount so small you won't even miss it? Today, I'm showing you exactly how $100 a month can completely rewrite your life story. When you think of wealth, you probably picture Wall Street sharks or tech billionaires. Those stories make the headlines, but they're the exception, not the rule. Real wealth building isn't glamorous, it's actually quite boring. It's built on three pillars: consistency, time, and compound growth. Why $100 changes everything. If you can commit to investing just $100 every month, you are immediately ahead of 60% of your peers. It's not because $100 is a fortune, it's because most people lack the discipline to save anything at all. Think about your budget. But $100 is a couple of nights out, a few unused streaming services, or those impulse buys that clutter your home. The question isn't if you have the money, it's whether you're willing to stop consuming and start building. I know the skeptics are already saying $100 isn't enough to matter, or I'm too broke to find an extra 100. Both mindsets miss the forest for the trees. There's a famous story of a teacher who told his students that $100 a month could make them millionaires by retirement. They laughed. They thought it was a trick. But it's not magic, it's mathematics. This isn't just about the cash, it's about the wealthy mindset. When you commit to that $100, you become intentional. You start distinguishing wants from needs. You develop the iron discipline that separates the wealthy from the struggling. So how do you find that extra $100? It comes down to two levers that the most successful people pull simultaneously: reducing your overhead and expanding your income. There are only two ways to find that extra $100. Reduce your overhead or expand your income. The most successful investors do both. On the expense side, start with your fixed costs. These are the invisible payments that drain your bank account every month: insurance premiums, cell bills, and internet. Most people are overpaying for these services because providers count on customer inertia. They know you're too busy to shop around, so they keep you on outdated, expensive rates. Spend 2 hours on the phone negotiating or switching carriers, and you can easily reclaim $50 to $100 a month. Next, audit the subscription epidemic. We're talking about the streaming apps, gym memberships, and software you haven't touched in months. It's not about making drastic sacrifices. It's about cutting the financial noise that doesn't add value to your life. In today's economy, earning an extra $100 is easier than it has ever been. Whether it's a side hustle, freelance work, or a part-time gig, the goal isn't to work yourself to exhaustion, it's to create a dedicated wealth stream. The specific method matters less than your commitment. Don't get paralyzed looking for the perfect side hustle. Just start, because once you have that $100, you step into an entirely different financial universe. The moment you invest that money, it stops being cash and transforms into a wealth-generating machine. It's a worker that never sleeps, never takes a vacation, and earns returns while you're dead to the world. Let's look at what happens when you put $100 a month into the market. The 10-year mark, your $12,000 in contributions doesn't just sit there. It grows to roughly $18,000. The trap. Most people see that $6,000 gain and think, that's nice, but it's not life-changing. They quit. They focus on the short term and miss the exponential explosion building beneath the surface. Now, let's extend the timeline to a 40-year career. This is where the math gets staggering. Your total out-of-pocket contributions over 4 decades would be $48,000. But your portfolio, it doesn't stop at $48,000. It explodes to over $350,000. The reality check. You contributed less than $50,000, yet you're sitting on over $1/3 of $1 million. Where did the other $300,000 come from? It came from compound interest, what Einstein called the eighth wonder of the world. Over 85% of that wealth came from your money working for you, not you working for your money. This is the fundamental divide. Struggling people think they can only earn through physical effort. Wealthy people know there's a limit to labor, but no limit to compounding. In the early years, the gains look small. A 10% return on $5,000 is only $500. You might think, I could just work a few overtime hours and make that. But you're missing the point. As your balance grows, those percentages translate into massive dollar amounts. When that portfolio hits $50,000, when your portfolio hits $50,000, a 10% return generates $5,000 a year. But watch how the speed picks up. At $100,000, you're earning $10,000 annually just for waking up in the morning. By the time you hit $300,000, your money is churning out $30,000 a year. Suddenly, your investments aren't just a side project, they're a second salary. They have the power to replace your 9-to-5 entirely. This is why starting early isn't just a good idea. The difference between starting at age 25 versus age 35 isn't just 10 years of $100 bills. It's the loss of a decade of compound growth on every single dollar. Here's what most finfluencers won't tell you. The hardest part isn't the math, it's the discipline. We live in a culture designed to make you spend. Every month, that $100 will be tempted by a flash sale, a weekend trip, or a lifestyle upgrade. The winners, they use investment automation. They treat their $100 contribution like an essential utility bill. They pay themselves first because they know that's the only path to freedom. As your balance grows, something shifts in your brain. You stop viewing investing as a sacrifice and start seeing it as the most rewarding thing you do. You'll stop asking, how much can I afford to spend? And start asking, how much will this purchase cost me in future wealth? That $100 dinner isn't just $100. It's potentially thousands of dollars in lost growth over your lifetime. Wealthy people aren't necessarily smarter. They just have a different relationship with time. They know their biggest asset isn't their house or their car. It's time. And once a month passes, that potential growth is gone forever. The $100 strategy is beautiful because it's scalable. You start at 25 with $100. By 40, as your career grows, you're contributing $500 or $1,000. But even if you never increase that amount, you're building something more valuable than cash: options. When you have an investment portfolio, you gain the power to take risks that others can't. You can take that high upside job at a startup. You can bet on yourself and start a business. You can jump on a real estate deal because you actually have the capital to deploy. Money creates more money, not just through interest, but through the opportunities that open up when you aren't living paycheck to paycheck. The goal of the $100 strategy isn't just to save a specific number for the rest of your life. The goal is to make wealth inevitable. Once the habit is locked in and you see the results, when you watch your account grow month after month, something clicks. You stop seeing money as a way to buy stuff and start seeing it as a tool to buy freedom. This realization triggers what I call lifestyle optimization. Most people fall into the trap of lifestyle inflation. They get a raise, so they buy a bigger car. They get a bonus, so they move into a more expensive apartment. But the strategic investor does the opposite. They channel that extra cash into their machine, turning a tax refund or a salary bump into a wealth accelerator. The beauty of starting with just $100 is that it kills the biggest lie in finance: the idea that you need thousands of dollars to start. Too many people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, the inheritance, the lottery win, or the giant bonus. They don't realize that the perfect moment is right now, with whatever you have in your pocket. By maintaining that $100 habit for 6 months, you aren't just building a balance, you're building confidence. You're proving to yourself that you can stick to a plan. That confidence is contagious. It leads you to refinance your mortgage, negotiate your salary, or trim the fat from your insurance. Suddenly, that $100 grows to $225, then $500. Your wealth building moves from a crawl to a sprint. The psychological impact of a growing net worth is addictive. For most people, it's the first time they've seen their life improve without trading more hours for a paycheck. This leads to the acceleration phase. Once you hit milestones like $50,000 or $100,000, the market gains alone start to outpace your contributions. Seeing your account jump by thousands of dollars in a single month while you were sleeping changes you. You're no longer satisfied with the bare minimum. You start hunting for income specifically to feed the machine. You take on the freelance gig or the side business not because you're broke, but because you're hungry for the finish line. The $100 strategy works because it creates momentum. Like a snowball rolling down a hill, it starts small, almost unnoticeable. But as it rolls, it picks up mass, speed, and power until it becomes an unstoppable force. The hardest part of any journey is the first few feet of the climb. That's what your first $100 represents, the birth of your momentum. You might worry that the market isn't perfect right now, but the truth is, the market is never perfect. You will face downturns, recessions, and seasons of pure uncertainty. But here's the secret. You will also catch the massive recoveries and the legendary bull markets that follow. Over decades, those fluctuations don't matter to the patient investor. They simply become the backdrop of your success. In my 30 years of watching investors, I've seen people fail for only two reasons. The procrastination trap. They never start because they're waiting for perfect conditions that don't exist. The exit trap. They start, but they panic and quit the moment the market takes a dip. Successful wealth builders understand that volatility isn't a signal to run, it's just part of the process. When you commit to this $100 path, you are joining an elite group of people who understand that building a fortune is a marathon, not a sprint. You are choosing a future of freedom over a weekend of consumption. The $100 a month strategy isn't sexy. It won't make you famous on social media tomorrow, and it won't make you rich overnight. But it will make you wealthy over time, and that is infinitely more valuable than any get-rich-quick scheme. It's a proven, boring, reliable path that requires only three things: consistency, patience, and the wisdom to start today. Your financial future isn't a mystery. It's a mathematical certainty determined by the decisions you make right now. Every month you delay is a month of compound interest you've set on fire, wealth you can never recover. The best time to start was 20 years ago. The second best time is today. Take that first step. Open the account. Automate the transfer. Your future self is counting on you.